Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty crazy drama going on as of today with the big PlayStation versus Xbox debate that's always ongoing. It's been ongoing for God knows how long at this point, and I'm not usually someone who likes to go and bait too much when it comes to the big console wars, but this is a little bit of an intriguing one going on. We actually have a PlayStation and Xbox dev completely and utterly just going rampant on Xbox, and of course, this leads a lot of big Xbox and PlayStation back and forth going on, because it almost kind of seems like almost maybe a little bit of a marketing ploy to get people riled on up. So we're going to talk about this, talk about the fact that some PlayStation developers are actually like basically almost saying like we don't even like Xbox, we even want to spend time developing an Xbox, and all of that, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this video. Now, as always, the preemptive reminder, I'm not too invested on it, even if you guys see the title or whatever, I'm not too invested in it, but it does always sometimes bring up like very intriguing conversations to go talk about, so obviously like make sure you guys go and chill. There's always a double-sided thing, and I do think the Xbox is pretty dope. So let's go and dive in the news. Make sure you guys check out the Samsung link down below with the HOL links as well. Save $50 and check out the pre-deal. We have the Twitter and Twitch link down below. We'll be hanging out on Twitch if you guys are bored right now. And of course, we also have the HOL link and all that Amazon stuff. And let's go dive in the video itself. So, as you guys may or may not know, we've always had a constant back and forth when it comes to the PlayStation and Xbox. Although, we have been slowly but surely kind of seeing issues with developers when it comes to developing on the platform itself, the Xbox platform. Mainly for a lot of folks noting, number one, that they sometimes are forced to have to go and develop for the Xbox Series S. And that's kind of been limiting up a lot of folks. Some games, they'll usually also end up on PC, and you typically want to have a bunch of other various options when it comes to things on the PC demographic. Anyway, you want people like laptops or their computers or casual gamers or whatever it might be, all the way up to folks with like 40, 90, like they're going crazy and their PC costs $10,000 more than my actual car. So we've always kind of seen the variety of this, but at the same time, too, some devs are not happy with having developed on the Xbox Series S. And as well, some folks are also running into now apparently big issues when it comes to the Xbox Series X. And this kind of had some pretty big drama going on where they're kind of getting somewhat viral over here in the gaming community. This is over here from Quantum Error, which I'm going to go and say this because I don't ever really like to be too much of an anti-Xbox guy myself, but when it does come to this stuff, it does seem like they're almost marketing is almost kind of on the let's go towards PlayStation 5. Yeah, we'll do Xbox, we guess. But they've had a lot of kind of conflicting comments. And of course, conflicting comments leads to a lot of conflicting people on Twitter because people on Twitter are always upset. Follow me on Twitter if you guys want. Saying, yes, the current one is that the SSD in the Xbox is slow enough that we may have to literally go put loading screens into the game between our environments as you're loading to different areas. Whereas the PlayStation 5 is seamless and does not need loading screens at all. Interestingly enough, this also responds from Lang that was kind of starting this off saying, just curious, would you be able to give an example from this game, real or theoretical, of what kind of design / gameplay or otherwise would have to be modified / downgraded on the Series X to accompany the slower SSD. And so I guess a little bit on the crazy time too, because we're literally seeing developers now just going out there and just completely just insulting Xbox at this point. Now, once again, like I'm a PC guy, so again, my heart isn't too invested on this one, and I'm always more the fan of just make the game for everyone. If it's a bit hard to develop, I understand that, but at the same time, it almost seems like weird. But like I said, this is going kind of viral with a lot of folks being upset with the game itself. In case you guys are curious too, Quantum Error has been floating around. They have a game basically over here with they have like a horror game coming out too, which I do believe we actually had a response over here from Peter Ovo, which is funny because I think they're actually showcasing up this game, where they even had the response saying you should resign from game development and close your studio if you can't get this game to run on an Xbox Series X and S. It's kind of an intriguing thing to kind of go notice you look through the gameplay itself, because it kind of looks like a Dead Space, but a little bit more on the indie side. Now, once again, this game is getting like a little bit of controversy, but once again, it might be just tied into from the fact that they're kind of causing a lot of drama. And obviously, if you go and rage bait folks, people obviously are going to notice it and talk about it, but the game itself doesn't seem that bad. I will go and say it definitely gives me some kind of maybe early Dead Space type vibes, as you guys can probably tell from the story and the animations, but the game doesn't also seem that insane, and I kind of do agree with the take. So like, you're kind of like, let me go break this down and talk about this a bit more. So it does kind of seem like they are trying to make the game kind of cool. Like, I like the idea of things like little axe. You have to use that to break glass. You have fire effects in the background. You're using things like, water, like hoses and stuff like this to clear out water. Like, I think the idea and conceptually makes sense, but some of the animations are also a little bit on the floppier side. If you say, like, stare at the fire and smoke like that, it's not like the craziest stuff. But the game's cool. Like, I don't want to, like, like, make it seem too bad. But it is being developed on every studio right now, so PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. But it looks kind of like a nifty-ish game. But as they mentioned, they're basically saying, like, they had a few other comments I'll show in a second. They're basically just saying that Xbox was just horrible to develop on. Like, the SSD especially was making just like an absolute pain to even try to make and develop their game. And it's intriguing to hear this because they don't actually have a tie-on right now on any game at all. Like, some game studios, let's say like, Insomniac, are obviously not going to be saying anything bad about PlayStation because, duh, they literally are owned by PlayStation. And as well, they also will never have their game probably come out on Xbox as well. PC side, we can maybe see. And also the same thing too with Xbox. A lot of Xbox games that are their own exclusives will end up on PC, yeah, but they probably won't ever end up on PlayStation. So the development cycles are usually a bit different. Although it's very, like I said, more intriguing to see people that are on the same very side of people who make a game for the Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation all at the same exact time, because they will be developing on multiple platforms and they'll be able to go and see the big major issues. So apparently they just didn't like the fact that the Xbox just had issues. The SSD was slack and they weren't able to go and actually cultivate the game how they wanted to. Now, do I necessarily think they should be insulting people on Twitter, like, say, aka Xbox? I mean, if they really want to go for that marketing strategy and focus a little bit more primarily on the PlayStation user base, you can do that. Although traditionally most games I usually see will just go and market towards everyone, because if they're spending developer hours and time or someone's making the game on Xbox, they probably don't want to have to go and deal with an angry hate mob if they're also developing the game on Xbox. It's almost like, well, people want to get boycotted. And, well, I think most people who watch these videos hopefully are not too invested in both sides. I would hope that most people also, like, just want to play a fun game. Like, people don't necessarily care too much if PlayStation or Xbox are doing certain things. Just want to have a game be good at the end of the day. So this is why I think it's a little bit on the crazy side, because it does seem like it's going everywhere. Like, we saw a few more other, like, various things, too, where it's, like, super, ultra, mega hot take. I actually like having loading screens, but I'm also going to be playing this on PS5, so I won't get any LMAO saying loading screens can be awesome. So, like, overall on there. No PS support, too, as well, but I can just talk about the game, too, on top of that in general. But they also had a few other comments, as I mentioned, too, like, just the actual developers themselves have been kind of floating around a little bit. And on top of this, but basically they're saying, yeah, the current SSD in the Xbox is just too slow. It's just not going that too good as well. They also kind of saying the two on top of this, saying, like, the game's not even out yet, and people are saying this mediocre game, kind of the counterpoints, too. I just want to see the game itself, because they want to put their money where their mouth is. But once again, they're kind of just going through up a bunch of those little dramas over here, too, saying, hey, this game was specifically made for the PlayStation 5. This is going to be definitely the way to experience quantum error. And on top of that, too, so in other words, the Xbox Series X version will be gimped and will retain the PS5 low resolution and graphics, and loading screens to boot, no thanks, saying they're both at least thankfully graphically the same on both platforms. But once again, even for the actual market themselves, they're saying this is going to be the play. You want to do it on PlayStation. But once again, like, look at how much impressions they get. 160,000 impressions. A lot of people commenting on it. You have other people over here literally showcasing up a 10-minute gameplay of this that already has 20,000 views, or even people like me making videos on it. Though some folks are saying other various games they played before, such as the Kings of Lorne, which is a game from this game same studio, have like a 6.1 review. So not to go be like too on the PlayStation fanboy side, but I would want to say, like, maybe they just don't, maybe they are average. Like, I don't want to completely knock out the game before it comes out, but maybe the games are just more on the average side, and that's maybe pretty much about it. So I don't know, like, sometimes they do have this kind of rage baity side, and they are talking about the fact that their read speed is a little bit more on the lower side too as well, just based on the pure SSD read speed and all this type of stuff. The PlayStation 5 is more particularly known for their good PlayStation 5 SSD, so it is kind of like somewhat factual, but I just kind of feel like it's weird that after like 3+ years of having your games having a chance to be developed and putting on these various platforms, that they still have any major issues in the first place. But although, like I said, we did hear some other various times of the Xbox Series S still having issues and still having people having like to do extra man hours and have extra little hiccups to go and make this happen. And we don't usually see it happen too much with the PlayStation 5. So like I said, a little bit of a rage baity thing over here. I'm trying to be a little bit on the objective side, but they is somewhat factual. I mean, I don't really mind. If you have an Xbox, I don't think you care. Like for me, I don't mind a 1 second, 3 second loading time. I think it's kind of end all, like whatever. It's not the end all be all. And on top of that too, like the game itself, I'm not sure if I'd even want to pick it up. I've talked about it a little bit, I think, because they have been rage baiting a little bit on Twitter, and I'm not really the biggest fan of that being a marketing strategy for your game. But either way, people have been kind of baiting on it. People are saying like they can't wait to play on the PlayStation 5. So at the end of the day, maybe they'll go and be able to rock it out, because they have been prioritizing. They're glad I donated when they did the PS5 version too. Happy to have you along for the ride. Everything else too on top of that. And yeah, Even talk about even the PC side, where all platforms, including PC, have a loading screen, while the PS5 transitions to the Rex scene without adding loading screens too as well. So maybe they're just trying to go focus in the PlayStation market. Maybe it's like the extra attention that people like me and other like news sources will be giving them. Kind of curious on what your thoughts are. Are you guys invested or not? Let me know. A little bit of like a nice little quick wind down part for the video too as well. We also have a pretty cool update too for High on Life. If you guys remember this nice cool Xbox Game Pass game made by the same creators of the Rick and Morty, although there was kind of a little bit of drama going on with that. I'm sure you guys remember. But as this one happened, they are now apparently coming out now to the PlayStation consoles too. I thought this game was actually really fun. If you guys do go and have a chance to pick it up, I do recommend it. All around good news. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, and as well check out the Samsung and HAL link down below for your nice little $50 off for your pre-sale. We have the Twitter and Twitch if you guys are bored and want to say hi, and of course the Amazon links too. And I appreciate y'all so much for watching here in the first place.